So I'm sure you've heard the story of the scorpion and the frog. The scorpion approaches a frog by the riverbank and asks for a lift across the river. No way, says the frog, you're just going to sting me. Of course I won't do that, says the scorpion, because then we'd both die. Convinced by the logic of the scorpion, the frog agrees to give him a lift across the river. But of course, sure enough, halfway across the river, he suddenly feels a sharp sting on his back. And as his lungs fill with the venom of the scorpion's sting, he looks at the scorpion and says, "Why did you do that? Now we're both going to die." To which the scorpion responds, "I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. It's just my nature." All of which is to say, the miscommunicator of this week is Piers Morgan. Okay, so a couple of weeks ago, I did a video in which Piers Morgan got the Communicator of the Week award, really in recognition of what I thought was some pretty excellent journalism on his show, where he has invited a whole range of guests from every side of the Israeli-Gaza conflict and given them the space to say what they want to say in response to some pretty good questions, both empathetic and challenging in equal measure. And I thought he was doing it really well. In fact, I thought he was doing it the best of any of the journalists around, where they often kind of take one-sided views. So that's why he won my Communication of the Week award. But sure enough, like the scorpion, he has reverted to his true nature, the bullying, insulting, rude, angry, offensive, kind of just nasty guy that I'm afraid to say I often find Piers Morgan to be. And I have to say, I got a whole load of grief from people who was like, on my last video saying, "What, you like Piers Morgan?" No, I don't like Piers Morgan. Can't stand the guy. But I had to call it as I see it because I am a communication purist. But this week, in a discussion, shall we say, that he had with Jeremy Corbyn, he really kind of showed his true colors.
If you want to have a discussion, fine.
Answer my
question. If you want to just shout at me, that's your prerogative, your TV, your show.
You wonder why people think you had a problem with Jewish people.
At all. Is your inability to keep quiet for 30 seconds to allow anybody to answer a question.
On my show, I ask people questions.
You shout at people.
Normally, they answer them.
That was just pretty distasteful. And the problem is it really taught us nothing. It's, for me, the example of the worst of journalism. Nobody heard anything. No legitimate points of interest were made. Nobody kind of moved in any way or revealed any facts or information that helped us, the audience, really work out where we should stand and what we should believe. So it was a pretty unedifying spectacle. Now, more importantly than Piers and even Jeremy Corbyn, what it teaches us about communication really reminds us of the old adage that you should never wrestle with a pig because you both get muddy, but the pig enjoys it. And really, when you are faced with somebody who is spoiling for a fight, who is being rude and insulting, the worst thing you can do is to rise to it. Because what you're giving them is oxygen and fuel for their fire. Instead, you have to go the other way. I used the example of a Wimbledon final between Arthur Ashe and Jimmy Connors. So Jimmy Connors was a really fiery character. He used to play a lot of power shots, and he was really the best in the game at the power shot tennis kind of play. So when Arthur Ashe knew that he was going to play against Jimmy Connors in the Wimbledon final, he knew he had to find a different way. He was also a power player, but he just wasn't as powerful as Jimmy Connors. And so he went the complete opposite direction, giving him soft balls back, taking all the power out of his shots. And it really threw Jimmy Connors off his game and his rhythm. And in the end, Arthur Ashe won the game. That's what you have to do when you're faced with a bullying character like that. Instead of rising to the bait and meeting fire with fire, you have to meet fire with water. You have to go calm. You have to go quieter. You have to go more reserved. You have to take the oxygen out of the air, leaving him with really nothing to hit back on, because that's what he's looking for, and that's what you must deny him. Pretty tough. Jeremy Corbyn clearly didn't do it. What you really have to do is just go quieter and calmer. And if he doesn't let you speak, you simply be silent. And imagine a journalist on TV having dead air with nobody saying anything. That's the worst kind of TV. And that's really, for me, what Jeremy Corbyn should have done. But he's also got his own communication problems anyway. So we'll leave it there. Anyway, hope that helped. As always, when you are ready to start working on your communication skills, and you really should be working on them by now, great place to start is with my masterclass. You should check it out, and I'll see you next time.